Section 12.5, how can friction be changed? Pages 256 through 257. The target of this lesson is that I can explain how lubricants can be used to reduce rolling or sliding friction so that students can design more efficient machines and reduce the transfer of energy to heat. Objective and key terms. Key term, lubricant, a material that reduces friction. Moving against friction. Friction makes it hard to move objects. Force is needed to overcome the force of friction. Suppose you want to push a heavy wooden box across the floor. As you push against the box, sliding friction equals the force of 5 newtons, pushes in the opposite direction. This means that it will take a total force greater than 5 newtons to push the box. Calculate. If the force of friction is 16 newtons, how much force is needed to move the object? Using rolling friction. Reducing friction makes it easier to move an object. One way to reduce friction is to change sliding friction to rolling friction. When you try to push a wooden box across the floor, you have to overcome sliding friction. The size of this friction force depends on the types of surfaces in contact with each other. In this case, the bottom of the box is in contact with the floor. If you put the box on a wheeled cart, there will be much less friction. Rolling friction is always less than sliding friction. With the box on the wheels, you will use less force to push the box. Part 2, explain. Why must you reduce friction in order to move certain objects? Using lubricants. You can also reduce friction by using lubricants. Lubricants are materials that reduce friction. For example, a car's engine metal parts or pistons are in contact with other metal parts. When the two pieces of metal touch, there's a lot of friction. Oil is used to reduce the friction between the metal parts. Oil is a lubricant. It separates the metal parts from one another. Without oil, the metal parts would scrape against each other. This would make the engine overheat and wear out more quickly. Part 3, identify. When would it be helpful to use a lubricant? Not enough friction. Have you ever slipped on an icy sidewalk or seen a car skid out of control? These things happen when there's not enough friction between the surfaces as your feet in ice or the tires in the road. In such cases, it is necessary to increase friction. This can be done by spreading sand on an icy surface or using tires with deeper treads. Athletes often wear special footwear to increase friction between their feet and the surfaces over which they move. Basketball players wear shoes with soles designed not to slip on hardwood floors. In several sports, players wear shoes with spiked soles to give their feet better grip in the ground. Part 4, hypothesize. Why do staircases often have rubber mats on the steps? That ends section 12.5.